I'm sure I've got TradingView open somewhere, but I've got so many windows open this morning, Maurizio. All right, lovely. So I haven't really done much over the weekend, to be honest, Maurizio. I got into that lit trade and
Yep.
I got the stop set up. So I saw that it had gone
Yep.
down a bit, but there was no need to keep looking at it. My stop will take care of that. It's recovered a bit nicely. But
Yep.
the market is it's kind of icky again. You know, it's like we were going down and then we've been
Yeah.
going up for a bit and now we're not going up for a bit anymore and we're kind of slowly coming down and there's on the weekly there is a really long tail wick that went and
Mm.
grabbed some liquidity, I think around sort of 75
Yeah.
bit. They gave us a bit of a bounce towards the end of the week. But the market seems quite nuanced at the moment. Like, will that bounce kick on? Well, fucking hell, I could get out the 21 week EMA, the 50-week EMA, see a bit of sandwiching action happening between them, especially on the
Mhm.
monthly. But icky. That's how I would describe
Yeah.
things.
And like it's always like that. It's always gonna be like that, right? And obviously something to add into the mix is, the developments with the conflict over the weekend.
Hmm.
Been a lot of shit, right? Like a lot of things going on and markets react on that. Funny enough, all that stuff happens after markets close.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So unfortunately, do crypto is a 24-hour market. You end up having that volatility there. Okay, so that's positive and negative.
Mm.
Depends of how you see it, right? Positive in the way that if you trade over the weekend and you're a scalper, you're gonna make a lot of good money, right? Negative is hard to get positioned, especially with stop losses and things like that, because obviously you can get week out, kind of.
Mm.
So that's the challenge. That's why on the lead trade, my stop was pretty wide, right?
Very wide, yeah.
Yeah. There's gonna be times that the stop is going to be very narrow. Therefore, your position size should be bigger.
Mhm.
Therefore, those ones could have a really good potential to the upside, right? So, but we're
Mm.
not there yet. We've been talking for the last couple of calls that we're still on a weekly downtrend, right? So we aim,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like so we have to have that in mind in terms of what you risk, what your positions are, and
Mhm.
things like that. That's the way I see it, right? So yeah,
No.
it's been tough, man. Especially yeah. Oh, let's wait. Let's Jim is asking how secure are stop losses? What do you mean, Jim? Okay.
Jesus. There's more of those AI note takers in the chat than there is
Oh
actual
yeah, I know, I
people.
know, I know. Yeah, I know. I should be cloning myself and
Yeah.
just
Yeah. This is a hey Jen. I'm not really here, Maurizio.
All right, Jim, let me answer this. A stop loss is basically a
Market order.
a market order that happens on a trigger price. Okay, so once you place a stop loss, the exchange take that trigger and is in their platform. Okay, and if when the market hits that trigger, it will execute your order at that time with the liquidity on hand. You might get the price, you might get a slippage. Usually you do get a lot of slippage, depends of what the exchange are you trading on. So that's basically the definition of a stop loss. Okay. It's up to the exchange to execute that limit order. So if for some reason the stop doesn't get triggered, then technically, right? I'm going to go technically because this is a big subject. Technically, the exchange is liable for that, right? Exchanges like Bybit or Mexi, or you could argue that you put the stop loss, everything is trackable, and if it doesn't trigger, I remember the FX on the FXCM of FXF. I already forgot what FX.
That's good, man. You've let it go, Jim.
FTX.
You've let it go.
I let
You've
go of
let
it.
it go.
Finally, fucking A. FTX had a lot of those issues, and they basically gave me the money back, right? That perspective, right? Now, in exchanges as hype, any DeFi exchange is a different story because they are contracts. Okay, so you have no way to say to customer service in a hyperliquid, oh shit, can you give me my money back? No, if it's in the contract, it got not liquid. That was the main problem that happened in October 11 last year. Okay, October 11 last year, a lot of the DeFi exchanges weren't able to fulfill orders on the stop loss due to technical limitations. There was a lot of what happened is a lot of orders came through, so the engine was not fast enough to close, and then a lot of people got liquidated. Okay, that's the first time in history of crypto that that shit happens. Okay, so that's the whole story in terms of stop loss. So before October 11, I will say stop loss is the safest thing. After October 11, I had doubts now, but it is the only mechanism that you have to protect your trades, capital, in a way. There's another mechanism that I think, but it works against you in a way. Okay, in the exchange when you have when you pick isolated versus cross, so that's another mechanism to protect your trades. However, this is the downside. So when you pick isolated and you trade on a leverage, right, then essentially the exchange automatically takes a portion of your capital to sustain that trade. All right. So the downside, like the positive is even though if the stop loss doesn't get triggered, the only portion that you lose is the portion of that particular trade. You don't lose your whole capital. Okay. You don't lose as of if you actually choose cross, right? Cross basically takes an account of everything, right? And if something goes wrong and the stop loss doesn't trigger, it will lose your whole capital, right? But what is the negative side of both, right? On the isolated, if you have winners, right, you cannot actually reuse that capital to place more trades. You cannot actually, use, let's say that, like for instance, I use cross, and that's probably, I don't know, with the trade that we took on Tau, we took some profits already, and the capital actually goes positive, so I can technically use that to leverage all the trades. That's what happened with cross. So pros and cons of both, right? So yeah, that's basically the whole explanation on that one, right? Yes, so that's even more dangerous, right? So with the unified, let's dig on that, right? All right, let's hyperliquid. Let me do the analogy with Bybit because the same way that Bybit changed to unified trading, I don't know, 3 years ago, 2 years ago as a default. So how that works? Unified trading, you pick what collateral used to place trades. So for instance, with if you have USDT, right, and USDC, and you put that into your trading account, you can use those collateral in order to trade the market, right? So obviously, let's say you have $2,000 on each, so it's $4,000 as a collateral. So you basically have that fuel to place your trade. That's your capital, right? Now let's say that you have Bitcoin, okay, and you put that Bitcoin into your unified account, and you turn the button that says collateral, right? And now the value of that Bitcoin is usable to trade perps. Okay, so let's say you have one Bitcoin. Okay, so when you're going to place a trade, you have to know what's the value of Bitcoin at that given time. Let's say it's $100,000, right? So if you have one Bitcoin, then at that given moment you have $100,000 to place trades. What's the caveat? Sounds good, and you don't lose your Bitcoin. It's just collateral. But if you lose trades, right? If you lose a trade, then you need to sell your Bitcoin in order to cover that, and you have to do it manually on Bybit. Otherwise, you don't have the USDT settled with. Okay. Now, where's the caveat? And when, well, this gets complicated when you start using unified things, right? And when you're asking collateral that is not native USDT or USDCY, you place that trade on Bitcoin, sorry, using collateral on Bitcoin, and let's say that the market is going down. Okay. So what happens is that your collateral reduces in value as your trade reduces in value, therefore your liquidation rises. Okay. So if you don't calculate that properly or you use too much leverage, you could get liquidated pretty fucking quick and you will lose all the collateral. You lose your Bitcoin, you lose your USDT, you use whatever you have in your account. Okay. Another caveat is the stop loss issue. All right. If you have another October 11 situation, right, and your stop losses don't trigger, you lose anything that you use in your unified account, everything, all the Bitcoin, all the hype, or whatever you actually put in there. Okay, that's the caveat. Okay, so use it at your own risk. You know what I mean? Like, it is tempting, of course. So those are the risk involved into different modes of trading. Okay, so in the good note, right? If you keep your risk low and you trade, you know what I mean? Like, and if you trading goes into sort of on a daily scalping wise, you don't leave positions open, shit like that, probably safe. You know what I mean? Because you're monitoring the market all the time and you can use your hype as a collateral to actually trade, which is pretty good, right? I'll talk about something cool today that I did touch on Friday, but that's the whole shebang in terms of the stop losses and unify accounts and shit like that. I hope that makes sense before we, yeah. All right, so that was a pretty good intro. So, how do you guys feel about the market today? All right, it sucks. Of course, it sucks. Always does. Yeah, I know. I know. Let me just close the door 1 second. All right, so are you bullish? Are you bearish? Are you ready to bet your house on Bitcoin today or not really? Or what's your thoughts? And then I'll start giving you my thoughts.
Well, I've come to realize that it's okay to say I'm not sure.
There we go, man. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like, and that's cool. Like, if
I I really underestimated how powerful that is to actually be able to say that because I always feel compelled to give you an answer, and I think I don't have one.
and me too. Kind of, but sometimes I have no fucking clue, man. And if you don't, you don't. That's sometimes you have ideas, but something important to learn from the markets is that you never know.
Mm.
Even if you
Mm.
know, you never know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the way it is, right? And something that I've been noticing a lot in terms of and this is just me, my emotions, right?
Mm.
Um, on Friday when I was placing those trades, I was tempted to actually go more on my own capital and things like that. And whenever I feel that urge, it doesn't go right. It
Mm.
doesn't go right. All right. So I had to put a limit on, and I talked about it in the videos in terms of um put a limit on the amount of trades that I have open at a given time. You know what I mean? And especially at this time that we're still on a very sort of trend, I'm still, feel icky. Still,
Mm.
like I feel the same, but probably this is the best way to play trades. Probably. All right. So something that I encourage you to do if you have AI or you don't or whatever, right? Set up a Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, and just talk to like take a screenshot and talk to what would you like? How do you feel about the market today?
Mm.
And that's it. Because once that moment is gone, then you're gonna feel different next time. And then you're gonna be surprised in terms of what was the reaction of the market about your feelings. You know what I mean? And Scott talks about it quite often in terms of When everything feels like shit is the time to buy, when everything is, so, and it's hard, man. It's kind of the fucking opposite of what we feel. So,
It is, man. It's like before you get into your deeper dive, it's like I still try and catch myself um after I've had a good win, right? Oh, it's because Ian's so clever. No, it's not. And after I've had a loss, it's because Ian's a dickhead. No, it's not. Ian's just in the middle. And the loss
yeah,
doesn't mean that he's suddenly a good trader. Sorry, the
yeah,
win doesn't mean, and the loss doesn't mean he's a bad. He's just in the middle. That's one to fight with a lot, man, because you say about that more position size, I get a couple of winners, same in poker. Got the hot touch,
yeah,
got the hot
yeah,
touch. That's when things go downhill.
yeah. It's hard. Don't get me wrong, and it's not easy, man. But the more awareness, I think awareness is, I have my agent doing voice, like like an AI agent that I program myself just to capture those moments and reflect back on that. I think is powerful, man. I think is if anyone want like you know. Uh, anyway, coming back to let's talk market, man. Well, this part of the markets, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Okay, so all right, interesting. It's very interesting. Something that happened on Saturday. Obviously, Saturday and Sunday, still a lot of shit going on in terms of the macro thing. The Iran and it's a lot of shit going on. So obviously, you're gonna have volatility. That hasn't been resolved. It looks like it's being resolved, but like always, it could shift everything. And just funny enough that things happen over the weekend. But let's talk about price action, right? In terms of things that I'm seeing that it could be very interesting. So, first of all, from the weekly perspective, right? Let's talk about the weekly. Uh, So, we had this sort of, we knew this kind of, right? That's why I'm tempted. I'm tempted to go long, but I'm more bearish lower, like towards. Now, the downside is that we have these levels that are going to be attractive for buyers. And those levels there are the ones that I'm watching to see what's the reaction of those levels, right? Is enough buying power at this level or at this level? I don't know at which level people are looking to buy. Simple. I don't know. If someone knows, let me know and how you find it because this is the only way that I can think of. And you cannot actually foresee that, oh, fuck, it's going to be at 72 or 73 and 70, whatever, right? That's basically, uh, yeah, Jim. That's basically what I was saying. This is a very, very structure, lower lows, lower highs, right? This is a lower high now performing, right? But now this candle here, right? The one that is forming, this hasn't finished. It's going to finish in roughly a half an hour. Um, this is going to be very telling. Okay, this is going to be very telling. If the bears are going to have continuation towards a lower trend, so if a lower trend develops, right, um, definitely going to see 60 more than likely, right, in terms of structure, right? But if buyers are willing to buy at this level here, right, we might see another push up, right, towards clearing this, and then another push down. Who the fuck knows? I'm just making a thesis down, right? But that's basically, the only thing that I can see levels and how people will react on that. Like so. With that being said, we have this level here, right? That's the 74,400,000 to be exact. Uh, why? This is the low of Monday, April 25th, right? There we go. So that's where it comes from. This is where the low happened. So that becomes an important level there, right? Also, another big level here is this one here, the 71,000. Okay. Now, what I'm looking is where is the reaction? of price on the daily, right, at those levels. Okay. Now, shorting, like I say, shorting, like when was last time? It was I was tempted to short, like, yeah, the week. I lose track already. But the problem with shorting at these levels now is that there could be buyers, right, at those levels. So market will bounce, and at some point it's going to trigger, and that could actually move up pretty quick. Okay, so that's kind of why I don't want to show the market yet. Still looks kind of bullish. The candle here on Saturday, on Friday, yeah, this Friday, tried to actually break that structure here, this little structure, but it's being held up right here. So where is this bias coming from? All right, let's find out. And that's when we just 1 second, just bring down the screen. Is this screen? Okay. Right here. All right. You see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so we have Bitcoin, right? And this is the week down. So we have liquidations, of course, liquidations to the downside, right? And the thing that I do like, look at this thing here. That's an interesting one. All right. The thing that I do like is there is a lot of CBD coming through. The thing that I don't like is this CBD came over the weekend. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like you cannot always like things, and you guys know how I feel about the weekend. But the interesting thing is, you know, huge liquidation come through CBD, so this could look like it could hold. All right, so I'm sort of aiming towards that it could hold. Right, if we start seeing a lot of CBD dropping, uh, you know, then that could, yeah, it will not look good. On the positive note, right? If we have this, we have a lot of open interest closing. Okay, so what that means is you can actually see here that we got shorts closing, right? Shorts being liquidated as CBD comes through, right? So that could be an interesting target to liquidate all these shorts, all people that actually shorted, right? I can see that probably they're going to get liquidated, right? As long we have CBD keeping its pace, okay? So where do I know? Like what? And yeah, I'm kind of I'm kind of in the I don't know stage. Why? One of the things that I look obviously is the IBIT, and IBIT hasn't been able. IBIT is, yeah, the ETF. Yeah, for ETF. Now, what the fuck I'm talking about? My yeah. No, I completely forgot. Anyway, this is the gateway to buy Bitcoin, right? Institutional ETF. Yeah, it's an ETF. Anyway, man, I lost it this morning, man. Anyway,
What's happening?
fuck, man. See, that happens, man, when you don't have enough coffee, and I actually slept really good last night. So funny enough. Anyway,
Okay.
um, we have these gaps right here. Okay, gaps are important in that perspective. So this could be attractive for buyers, but I see another little gap here, another little gap here, right? Now, this is going to be interesting because if this doesn't come up, this is non-institutional buying. This is just regular people like you and me that are buying. So that CBD might become a little bit weak. Okay. So that's the only thing. That's basically something that I have to have in mind. All right. So with that being said, I'm kind of in no man's land. Like I'm not fully bullish. I'm not fully bearish. I'm just, I don't know. I was in a better position last week. Everything looked much, much better. But now, based on what happened over the weekend, that's kind of where I'm at. So, yeah, things that I'm watching. Obviously, what I want to see Ivy picking up, right? If Ivy starts picking up, more than likely CVD will have continuation, and therefore that's going to trigger a lot of short squeezes and is going to fuel the market. All right. But obviously, I think this is dependable of what's going on with the macro environment, in terms of Trump and all that sort of shit. Anything else like, where is my USDT right here? USDT and USDC. It's looking okay, right? What I want to see for our positions to have continuation is I want to see this bring it like going all the way down, right? Things that I like, obviously hype. Hype has fucking great continuation. I was going to enter on this trade. I didn't. But I still like hype. I keep buying hype as a spot, and hype could be an interesting one. Um, so as long hype is in all-time highs right now. All right, that actually this is big, and it's happening right now. Okay, so this is all-time highs foreign exchange and DeFi exchange. All right, so this is quite significant, right, in terms of where the market is heading. Okay, now there was some news as well on Friday that the SEC is going to delay the, the DeFi decisions and things like that. So that could hold things a little bit back. But from the perspective, I think hype is a very interesting proposition. Definitely all-time highs now. We still have like half of hype that we bought that around like fucking $3. Um, yeah, really good, man. In terms of leverage, this is the thing. Leverage could, volatility. Uh, and I'm going to explain lit on a minute. So obviously, when you get a strength, right, you could perhaps think about a narrow stop loss, but volatility will whip you out, right? Sometimes, right? Sometimes when something's really strong and it's worth it, but things like lit, that's still the small caps or Asta, uh, or even Apex, where's Apex, that I was looking at, it could actually, it's a lot of players that they want to get out, that want and some players they want to get in. So that gives you that volatility. Let's talk about high. Let's talk about lit and why lit. So lit, uh, I see lit as a very good competitor for hype. He's doing a lot of things right, and but it's still a lot of crap going on, right? And they have to liquidate all these shorts in order to actually keep going. This is what trading is all about, right? So with lit strong proposition, I bought more on spot. So we bought spot probably around here a while back. So we bought on launch, then we bought here, then we average in on spot. But this is the trade, the leverage trade that I'm playing. Um, in terms of the stop loss, why stop loss? I don't want to see the market going below this here, right? This pick, the $1, give it or take, right? It acts as a psychological level and acts as a where all the liquidity is coming from, right? So that's the reasoning on the stop loss. Now, if markets recover, right, like if Bitcoin decides to go up, I would expect that lit will do well, right? If we have a look at lit at this is the spot position. Um, what I mean spot position, not I mean spot chart, right? That this was listed on the 15th of January, right? And it went up on listing price. It went up to 2.7. So, um, a while back, I did videos in terms of how to trade new listings, and this could be one that it could do really well. So from listing price, you have this deviation, then you have going up. The downside of trading your listings is that you're gonna have people that bought here and still holding. They might start going to sell when the market moves up. So that becomes as a liquidity supplier, but also that will fuel the market to the upside, but it will create volatility. So that's the kind of problems with leverage, right? Uh, in terms of where do you think you're wrong, right? So that's basically what I'm looking on lit. Let's talk about Worldcoin. So Worldcoin is doing really good. The basis of this trade was the fact that uh, this is the way they could be completely wrong. This is riskiest bet, but so AI is going really well. OpenAI, which is Sam Altman's this OneCoin for people that doesn't know was created by Sam Altman. Okay, and OpenAI is going public. Uh, it's creating an IPO, so that could create a volume. I see this one as the gateway for for people to think that this. I'm not thinking that WorldCoin is going to be the best. Like, the proposition is interesting, it's weird, but it's interesting. Uh, so this could be a gateway for it, right? That's the way I see it. So that's the riskiest bet, but it's actually working well. It's actually holding up pretty good as per market conditions, right? So I really like that one. The one that I didn't add more, I was going to add more, was Ondo, but I already had Lit, I already had WorldCoin, and I added on Tau, right? So Tau also I added more. So this is the trade on Tau that we took. But I added more here. So if you knew and you didn't add, so obviously this is kind of the risky aspect of it, but I add more on this bet. You can actually see a lot of liquidity coming through. So I really like Tau. If market recovers, I think I can definitely see Tau coming through, like recovering well. That's pretty much it. Yeah, Ondo is the one that I really like. So Ondo is following, like Ondo is the best. I think I think Ondo could be the safest option because Ondo is doing a lot of, like, Ondo is RWA infrastructure, right? And is providing um, all that infrastructure to exchanges. Like they just did a deal with Mexi in terms of providing stocks, tokenized stocks and tokenized ETFs into their platform. So that's kind of what is going to feel on in the future. So we're good. We took some profit, but I want to add more. Definitely, I think I'm underexposed into Ondo, but slowly. You know what I mean? If we miss one, we miss one. But that's kind of the what I'm thinking. The one that I want to highlight, I did talk about it last time, is Neilian. So obviously this happened yesterday over the weekend. It wouldn't be a really great trade to get back into it. And Neil, why Neil? So I'm actually tempted to open a spot position in this one. This could be very volatile. Um, the, it, so Neil is the intersection into privacy, AI, and and sort of the community is building private AI. So put it that way, right? So there is a lot of narratives that it could go well with this one. It's already up 20% this month today, so I think it already went up. So I'm tracking this one closely, right? 47% the last um, 2 days. Be mindful that this is still low cap. It could move really fast to either direction. Okay, they either to either direction. Okay, so this is the ones that might you know make sure that you understand the risk, right? So it could move down 30% tomorrow and then it'll go up another 25% next day and then down another 15 and another 100 the next day. Okay. Uh so yeah, Todd, I like, yeah, that's why I like Ondo. That's why we went in uh in and I like it to add more. So I think I'm going to add more spot. I think Ondo could do really well. It's well positioned. It's a good product. A lot of institutionals, they have a trajectory of good performance in terms of their platform. So yeah, although I like it. The one that I want to highlight today is where are you? I don't know if you guys watched my video on Friday, the KNTQ. Okay, so what is this? So this is a long-term bet, could be really risky. Uh, K, K, KNTQ is kinetic. Uh, y- yeah, go back on my video on Friday. You're gonna find this link. If not, let me just send it to you here on the chat. All right. And all right, why this could be interesting. So for people that doesn't know, liquid staking. Do you guys understand what liquid staking is? Liquid staking is and how you can use it and what's the possibilities? All right. So let me explain. So let's say you have Hype. You bought Hype and then you stake Hype and you basically, have that collateral like you cannot use it. You cannot use the staking for anything, right? Okay, what is the staking, Craig? So in crypto, uh, the more stake, the staking is basically money that you put aside or the collateral that you're never going to sell. And, that's how validators work in a way, right? And that's how the more staked, you cannot use it, but the protocol is able to see how much lock of their supply they have. So the more stake, the better, right? In a way. We'll talk about the staking later. Exactly. So now with liquid staking, what it is that you staked, but then they give you back something that is called K hype. And what that means is you can take K hype and use it as money, right? You can go and use it as a collateral to get borrow funds, use it and trade it in another account, use that as and you're still gaining the points, you're still gaining the staking rewards, all that sort of stuff that is native from staking, right? So staking, what's the hack? Like with the staking, like you put into a pool and that pool gets used to for liquidity to other protocols and things like that, and you do get a reward, right? That's why you stake. That's why some platforms offer a really good yield, right? To stake their tokens. Now, liquid staking, right? Basically, is kind of the only platform that is actually doing liquid staking for Hype. Okay, so why this is important? If Hive has continuation towards the upside, this could be an interesting protocol that it could take off. Okay, what is the risk? If Hive doesn't take off, I don't see this one going anywhere, more than likely, right? But as Hype has continuation to the upside, maybe more people will be interested in using some of their Hype to actually do other trade. Okay, what is the difference? Like it is, what is the intricacy now? Like this is the same thing that Pendle did. So Pendle was a very huge protocol, and LDO, all right? They did the same thing and they got rewarded, okay? So now the only thing that sort of have to consider is that this could be a narrative, right? So this could go, up and down. So it could be quite volatile. And the interesting thing right now is that they just opened like a few days ago, opened the KNTQ and USDC pool. All right. So this is the one that I talked probably ages ago, KNT, KNTQUSDH, right? So this is the original. USDH was the pool, like it is the hyperliquid pool, and this one has done really well. Went from kind of in the lows. Yeah, it's like 500%, right? So this, I can see that it could be traction for this. Now they open the USDC, but this is a spot play, right? This is a spot long-term sort of deal. Okay, so yeah, that's it. The only thing that I'm kind of concerned in terms of why would you use liquid staking instead of using the Unify account? That thought that's kind because now that you launch the Unify account, Hyperliquid launched the Unify account, kind of defeat the purposes. Obviously, you do have other rewards. But then Unify accounts, you cannot actually use a stake yet. Okay, so that's this problem that is solving. So with that being said, I'm thinking of getting long on this one. So, but then yeah, bear in mind of the volatility. All right, but yeah, this is so correlated with hype that if hype decides to go down or something goes wrong with the SEC filing or whatever, I think this one is going to get affected quite heavily. Okay, so that's I think that's it, guys. I don't know if you guys have any questions, but that's kind of where I'm at in terms of opportunities. Yeah, those are the ones that I want to focus this week. Yes, Todd, we talk about that one. So yeah, Hype, Coinbase Circle, Hyperliquid, official launch made. That's why we were into. That's why I'm looking for plays with Hype. In terms of what. Like, here's my thinking. Once a protocol has launched, you could see it with BNB, right, or BNB or Solana, right? When those protocols start going nuts, right? Which one are the tokens that might have that? You know what I mean? By correlation, have that narrative that it could go through heavily on that one, right? So I see that's the main thesis behind KNTQ, right? And yeah. So yeah, any questions?
Yeah, I got one question. When moon?
Huh?
When moon? Sorry.
Wait, Moon. That's all right, man. No, that's all right.
When Lambo?
When Lambo.
Mm,
Oh man.
mm, mm.
But yeah, well, good guys. So I think I still could be good opportunities. Let's see what happens today and tomorrow, and then let's see we can. But I think the world coin is the one that I'm gonna ride. And lit is there. I'm tempted to. I don't know. Feels odd, but he's recovering well. So let's see what happens over New Year session. Almost got to stop out, but yeah.
Nice. Great session, everybody.
All right,
Thank you.
guys.
Look forward to the updates.
No
Ta-da.
worries. Have a good day. Bye bye.